And welcome back to the Off the Clock Show. You're joined once again with your host, Shawn Gervais from OrbisX CRM and Marty, Mr. Marshall Hill from the Pints and Upholstery Podcast, and most notably from hyperClean Car Care Products, which very soon will be fully integrated into OrbisX, which is going to be awesome. There's going to be an opportunity for everybody that uses the products now to earn some money and have more product sales to your customers. And also, even for those that aren't currently using the products, you'll be able to have that opportunity as well. So there we go. Shameless plug for 2024. We got some exciting things in the works. I'm very
Fun
excited
times.
myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fun times. Absolutely, man. Yeah. Do you guys do anything big for New Year's and stuff?
So New Year's actually will be probably the biggest New Year's I've ever done. Actually,
Amazing. All right.
we're going to be in
Amazing.
Rio.
Woo! Let's go. Oh,
Let's
man.
go, right?
You lucky bastard. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Rio's supposed to be one of the top places to go for New Year's. So, we're pumped. Like,
Dang.
we rented an Airbnb. My mom's going to go.
Oh,
Gonna
that's
take her. She wants to go
amazing.
see the Cristo, the big
Yeah.
Christ statue. And yeah, man,
I'm thinking, man, maybe I should just book a trip, Not necessarily because you're there. I'm just saying.
let's go.
Yeah, fuck. I mean, yeah, why not?
All right. So,
Kids are out of school.
ironically funny, my cousin, which is my mom's sister's son,
All right.
is a pilot for American Airlines.
No shit.
Sends us a message. Hey, what days are you going to be in Brazil? He's actually going to be in Sao Paulo.
No way.
He's never been. So we're trying to see if we can get hooked up. But, I think he's not able to leave and we'll be like 5 hours away or something like it's like,
Okay,
I just
yeah.
don't know if we're going to risk. I mean, that's 10 hours of travel time just in travel.
And that's that's if everything goes well and it's, like,
So I don't think we'll see him there, but it's pretty cool. He's going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they, their family is in a big group chat on WhatsApp.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
What's fun is I'll send pictures of our picanha and they'll send pictures, right? So then this one guy just this weekend sent a picture of the way he makes it, and and they're talking trash, it's fun. So I go there and have a little cook-off and teach them how to cook some steak.
Oh man, that's amazing, man. Jesus. Okay, well now I got to book a ticket. That's it.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah.
After this, I got to talk to my wife when we're done. Yeah. But
this, which I was
finishing up. I saw you had something tasty there. What's going on?
Some tasty. Right. Now this is doable for everybody. Meat grinder, you got to get. If you don't have a meat grinder, they're pretty, they're not bad on Amazon. Just get a decent one. Not all good. And you start, if you want a burger, I mean, there's no more ground beef. Come on, stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's okay if you even go choice, right? You want to go prime as your best steaks. If you need to go choice, it's okay for a burger. So get a ribeye choice and then get, some other type of steak or just do all ribeye, either way. Ground it up. And that's what that was, man. We were craving on Friday. I was for some reason just craving some steaks. So I grabbed some ribeyes, and then, like I said, I like sirloin. So got some sirloin, and then we ate that on Friday night, and then Saturday that's when I was like, oh man, I'm doing some burgers, like steak burgers. Put it on the flat top. Oh man, best.
Oh man, okay. So I don't have a meat grinder. That's on the list now. Yeah.
It should be. It'll change your burger. It'll change your burger completely.
Dang, okay. Because usually I go to the butcher and he does it for me. But I'm thinking now I could just do it at home. But that way it gives me the flexibility that maybe I want this, maybe I don't, so then I can grind it up.
Start mixing in your different types of steak to create different types of steak burgers.
Like that. Yeah, well, especially because a lot of family, they're like, some of them are periodically vegetarian. And so, but then I could, grind up other stuff in there too. But you get that texture and consistency, so.
You can grind up.
And my daughter, she's not big on red meat. So I could, throw some chicken in there, something like that.
Chicken?
Yeah. Interesting. I can't believe, as you say it sounds so simple, but I can't believe this whole time I haven't had it. That's crazy.
Right? Well, so then when I got mine, I was like, oh gosh, this is awesome. How many different things can I start creating?
Yeah. It's like, damn.
I tried the potatoes and then put them in the air fryer to make, I need some work on it. I need some work.
Okay, yeah. That's the thing. We talked about it before with air fryers. There's like a technique. It's not always just dump it in, push go. There's a technique. Sometimes it's with the prep, sometimes it's with the different settings, you know? Yeah, that's true. But
Speaking of settings and technique, thank you, Manny. Manny's a guy that listens, listens here, listens to the Pints Polishing. We uses OrbisX, uses us, right? Love the guy.
absolutely.
Sends me some recommendations because I guess he saw the YouTube videos, right? So
Okay.
he was sending me some
Yeah.
suggestions, right, about
Nice.
stabilization and things. He said he got some videography work, so I wanted to give him a little special shout out because it was like
shout out,
man,
yeah.
he did it out of a lot of nice way of doing it. Hey man, just wanted to share some advice. It was like, thank you. I take all the advice I can get. I appreciate it. So want to tell him thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Respect, man. Community. There we go.
Yeah.
See?
Oh.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. He also just ordered some NFC gift cards, so shout out as well. See, planning for the holidays. Yeah, e-gift cards are great. Physical, something about that textile. Like we're textile beings, having something tangible, something you can give to somebody. It's always awkward when you buy an e-gift card. It's like Merry Christmas, and it's just like check your email. You know what I mean? Having something you can just put in a card or wrap or something like that. It makes a big difference. And then how cool is it that you can just tap your phone and boom, it marks it off paid in OrbisX. Like that's phenomenal, right? Yeah, see, that's living in the future. But anyway, enough of my shameless plug. but yeah, so I had a pretty interesting weekend, and yeah, it's been kind of a whirlwind. I got this new guy that's joined the team now, Jeff. He's worked with me before, and so we were playing around a lot with some AI stuff that we've put in the system. And the weirdest things happen, but I took all the feedback from my staff, things that they had, because we always do, feedback time, stuff like that. And I put their questions into AI, and I said, what's a good solution for? And then I would put whatever, issue they were having or whatever suggestion they had, things like that. And it was really interesting to see AI come. So anyway, long story short, I was up till about 3 or 4 in the morning, just playing with AI, and I'd be like, okay, what's another solution? What's this? What's that? And it's funny because I was literally having a conversation with a computer by myself. You know what I mean? But I felt like I spent the weekend with like a business mentor. It was pretty cool. So anyway, I had but aside from that, I did a lot of stuff with the family. But that was a pretty big highlight for me. Was I was alone, but not alone. It's kind of weird, man. I know it's yeah, you're like, okay, buddy. But no, it was pretty interesting to see like where AI is, and there's different models. Like a lot of people
Where
think
is it? I didn't know it was in a specific place, Shawn. Interesting. Where did you go?
They are.
You went someplace special, did you?
I always go someplace special. But yeah, so there's different models, and you play with one type of AI versus another one, and the different model will have different responses. Some of them, just the way they're trained is different, stuff like that. So, man, it was exciting, but it got me so amped up for 2024 because some of the AI stuff we're working on right now it's night and day. Like and like we were already obviously the only CRM in our industry that has AI built in, and now the AI that we're working with it's making the other AI look like it's a fourth grader. And so it's pretty amazing that if our original AI was already kicking ass and taking names, this new AI, it's you're just going to be able to do twice as much or 10 times as much as what the other one was doing, all without you even knowing. But it's going to have a massive impact on your business. And I'm really excited because we're moving into our new location. It's 3 times the size, and we're right on the main road now. So we need to do things more efficiently and more aggressively in the marketplace. And so, we all have 24 hours in a day, but sometimes you can multiply that, and you can actually get 50 or 80 hours in the same day just by multiplying your efforts in each hour, right? So I'm pretty pumped up, man. Yeah.
So that's interesting because that kind of is. Let's come back to that because that really comes into a lot of what I wanted to kind of talk about. And listen, Manny joked as everybody jokes, like bouquet of tips. So I love that. You'll get to have a second after.
Yeah. There we go. I have to, man. I need at least 5 or 6.
But I think before we get into that, there was some groundbreaking news released the other day, right?
Oh, yeah. Depending how you look at it.
Yeah, that's right. You go, okay, that seems great that, a detailer is now going to go work for this brand. And at the same time, you go, wasn't this the guy that was giving out business advices and tips? Now we don't know all the details, so I'm not saying just, but seems strange. Now he's full-time working for a brand. Like, he was giving tips and advice how to run your business, and for some reason now he's hired.
Took a job. Yeah.
Seems interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. And I mean, it's winter time, and sometimes when businesses aren't doing as well or things slow down, sometimes the best thing you can do is take a job. But it is definitely interesting when someone's giving advice to people about how to run a business, and then their business isn't doing so well, so they, take a job somewhere.
And maybe he sold his business. Good for him.
It's possible too. Yeah, and if that's the case, like I said, we don't know all the details.
Don't know all the details.
Yeah.
Just from a big picture, you just kind of go, wait a second.
Interesting.
Because I know these trainers that train people that couldn't stay in business, but they're trainers. Now there's this, right? And interesting.
It's a real,
and it really, why does it matter? Well, it matters because just the same as the other day, we talked publicly about, some guy that's trying to tell people it's faster to cut with a DA than it is a rotary. And you're going, wait a second, that's just false information.
That's
and then you got people listening to them, and then these people are on other podcasts, and other people are saying, hey, we recommend these people. And you go, wait a second, hold on. If we don't ever call to the carpet the snake oil that continues to go on in the industry, then we'll always be known as snake oil in our industry. Like, we'll always be looked down on. They'll always consider us shady, and they'll always be that if we don't stand up and start saying, hey, listen here, all good, whatever you did, but let's come clean.
Yeah.
If you closed your business to go take a job, you need to say it and re-advise everybody of all these tips of you suggesting them go with this other brand and all that. Because if they did, then they'll follow the same pattern you just did, and you went out of business.
Exactly.
So at what point do other people start saying this? Because we got, a lot of flack over the past 4 to 5 years of when we started calling people out, because we're tired of seeing it.
Yeah.
It was no longer really worthy for us to do it, because why does it really matter? But now you really start to see it when it matters.
And you have to call bullshit
for us, but we're seeing where it matters to people. And guys on the internet going, hey, we support this guy and you should get his products. And you go, he just told you that the rotary was slower than a dual action polisher. The whole reason for a dual action polisher is to be slower. Like, what? It's supposed to have all this orbit and like, what? How? So.
And that's the thing. You have to call bullshit, because if not, we all have to work twice as hard to convince customers why they should use us, why they should trust us, why they should, look to us for advice and care of their, in most cases, second most valuable asset, And
has anybody been in this situation? Which I know they have, because I get phone calls from detailers that are in this situation. Hey man, I just need to know, I know you say that we can put Uno on top of other people's coatings, but I've got another one here that's failed, right? And it was this dog one or whatever that was supposed to be 6 years, and it lasted like 6 months. Okay. It was root for the small guy type of thing. Well, his shit doesn't work. Okay. It fails nonstop. And so people are asking, can I put Uno on? And you can. You can Band-Aid their non-coating with an actual coating. You go, that's why we have to call to the carpet, so you're not following somebody wrong and end up in a situation where you put down somebody's, do it for the small guy, and then he fucks you because he told you 6 years and it lasted 6 months. So you got to call it to the carpet.
Exactly.
More
You got to
people.
think, look how hard we all work for our customers to acquire them. Even if you're the best marketer out there and you have the best landing pages and all that shit, there's still a high cost of acquisition when you're dealing with getting a new customer, because it's not just your ad spend. It's the time talking with them, the time conversing, the time convincing them why they should use you, this and that. When they become a customer and then you disseminate the information that you heard from somewhere else and it's bullshit, that customer is going to be twice as hard to maintain and keep, and you might even lose them. And then they're going to talk, and it spreads, and next thing you know,
is it harder to get customers, or is it harder to keep a good name? Which is more important, huh?
Yeah.
Should you spend so focused on getting customers that you'll say whatever?
Yeah, just to get them.
You understand the value of your name and your reputation, so you always do what you can to preserve that.
100%.
Long term, what does it do? It gets you more customers.
100%. A lot of people ask me, because we have almost 1,300 5-star reviews now, which is awesome. A lot of people have asked me, how come there's so few 1-star? Because like with that many, the ratio should be, there's going to be some people that are unhappy, and there are. Not every job is a perfect job at our shop by any means. The first time, if something happens, we hound that customer. We're like, we'll make it right, whatever way we can, even if it means we'll fully refund you and redo the job. No problem. Because we realize we spent a lot of time and energy and money getting that customer, to just have them upset and then release them into the wild. The long term, what that's going to do to our brand is terrible, so we do everything we can. And that's true of all my businesses. And the reason is because it's not getting the customer. Getting customers is relatively easy. Keeping customers, keeping them happy, and making sure that they are the ones spreading the word. Because the worst kind of customer, in my opinion, is the one that has a bad experience and doesn't tell you about it.
Doesn't say anything.
That's
those are usually the best ones.
Yeah, because
they respect the fact that, and so they don't talk crap and they don't tell you. They just go another place. Like,
you
hate to lose those people, because
that's
the customer
that you really and that's the one that would have given you a second chance, and that's the one that would have. So that's why follow up with customers is so important, and literally asking them and being genuine. Like, how was your experience? What could we have improved on? Thanks, I saw you left us a 4-star, and that's good. How come we're missing a star? What happened there? Where do we fall short? And don't accept the I don't give anybody 5 stars answers. We've got that a few times, and it's like, no. They put the 5th star there. What's going on? And we dig deep, because that's more important to us. And the reason why we choose to surround ourselves with the right brands and the right people is because of that integrity. And the reason that you and I do this podcast is because of that integrity. Like I saw in the beginning how you move in the industry, stuff like that. So when you approached me to be on with you and Greg, I was like, yeah, done deal. Absolutely. Because I've seen a lot of, other people, and I've been on other podcasts and stuff like that. And I didn't feel that same level of integrity. The minute you start to ask some questions about their warranties or their this and that and stuff, you really get the old smoke and mirrors, And so it's just, I really appreciate honesty, and I really appreciate the upfrontness and the just maintaining integrity within, because it's so much more than just your logo on the wall. It's who you are, who your team is, who you stand for. It's all those things, and how you conduct yourself in your business. And that, honestly, those are things that are hard to replicate. So that's why you should never worry if you're operating in that mindset and that capacity, and everything you do follows those things, and you stay true to your mission and your objectives as the company. That's really hard for people to replicate. So you'll have no competition, because they're going to do things differently. As we've seen with the, OrbisX compared to some of the other CRMs that are out there, they've done some unscrupulous things at times. They've left people hanging. They've this and that. Like, I can't tell you how many people have come crying to our group because they're like, geez, this happened to me in the other group. Like, I couldn't believe it. The admin for their group blocked me because I asked a simple question, or they, said they put on one coding at this job and they actually put on a different one and bragged about it online. Like, there's all these things that happen, and it goes to the core and integrity of somebody, and it's not a sustainable way to run a business. Yeah. Rant over. There we go.
All right, so we had a question, right? Question
Yeah, we did.
The
Winter
OrbisX
time.
list?
Yeah, we had a question, and the question was, it's one we've all heard before, and especially this time of year, because it's about this time of year primarily. So the question was, they were asking me specifically because their climate is similar to ours. We're in Canada, so we get lengthier winters, let's say. And the question was, what do you do when it starts to slow down? Do you have any advice for me? And the advice that I was giving to this person was pretty straightforward. There's really three options you have. You keep going and do what you got to do and try and make it work. Get a job is the other thing. Or the third option is be like the farmers and prepare for these kinds of things. Might be too late right now, because you've got to sow the seeds, in order to get that harvest.
All right, so let's go through those. Let's go through those for a second.
Sure.
All right, what was the first one?
So the first one is just stay the course and do what you got to do.
Grind it out.
What you're trying. Grind it out. Exactly.
Grind it out. Okay, let's break down grinding out because we don't want to grind.
Definitely not. You got to do something. As we've talked about recently, you got to climb, you got to evolve, all of these things, right? And so
if it's slow and I think I want to stay in business and I don't want to close down, I've really got to start figuring out how much money I need.
Yeah.
And how I'm going to get it.
Exactly.
And how I'm not going to spend all the extra money because I want to make sure I get what I need.
Exactly.
Okay? So for a lot of people, that becomes budget time. It's not a fun word, but should you go line item for line item? Yes. Should you go look over every expense? Yes. This is winter. You're trying not to close. It becomes a 911 moment. I had to do it. Many other people have had to do it. Go 911, cut out every single thing you can, go down to the very bare minimum of, hey, it's only for a couple months. I can eat lesser types of foods. I can not buy new things, right? Like I can cut certain, it used to be cable, right? But now it's subscription.
Now it's like Netflix, Disney,
amount of subscriptions.
You add them all up.
It's insane, right? So can you adjust your heat temperatures a little? Can you wear more clothes so you don't have to burn gas? I mean, I'm talking, you might need to get down to some very, very uncomfortable, right? Changing your food habits, right? How far do you want to go so that you don't have to close? Not grinding. I'm making sure as I begin to climb, I don't have as much weight.
Exactly.
So a lot of it is cutting. So hopefully you're right. Hopefully this guy, and he did say, listen, I've still got a month, right? He feels like he still has a little time.
He's
so
hopeful.
He's hopeful, which is great. And it's smart to already think about this. The first winter here, when I started, I didn't plan. I didn't know because I'd never been in business.
Exactly. So you're just going along. You think, oh, it's going to be more of the same, Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We didn't have podcast and internet back then. So what did I do? The other option too is if you go, listen, there's just not cars. I won't be able to, which was me. I didn't have a customer base that I knew would keep me going. So I had to use my equipment to do other things than clean cars.
Yeah. And that's
hot water, right? I've talked about it. Hot water burner on my power washer, which I then use to clean concrete. Okay, there's all kinds of things and which we would do at night. So it was cold, didn't matter. We had hot water, so as long as it didn't freeze. There were some of those times that we were at a Sonic and we had to quit because it was actually freezing while we were doing it. So, you do have some things to be careful about, but you can use your equipment to make money other than cleaning cars.
Yeah, absolutely. I know some people that are using your products in particular to do bathrooms. So they've contacted some home builders, and the home builders, there's one guy in particular, they're selling new homes, new installs. The home builder is actually pitching it to the customers, and then they come in and do the install. The home builder is making 5 times what the guy's being paid. Okay. But who cares? The home builder has the customers. They're dealing with them. They're the ones that are saying it's going to last this long. They're doing the whole sales pitch. This guy just shows up to a new complex and he'll do 15, 20, 30 bathrooms. And then he'll move on to the next one. So there's tons of options out there.
And the reason why you want to cut things and why if you can not go get a job, and listen, I took some part-time stuff, which is a great suggestion for people. Like I went
100%.
for a geologist, and we were doing sonar to test water in Kansas and in California. He would move us around, and there was times in the winter it was great to go. I could go away for a week. I knew there was nothing going on, and I could go make some money. So absolutely, if you need to do that, do that. Don't feel any shame about it at all.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no shame in that at all, because you are in some areas, it is a very seasonal business, especially if you're mobile and things like that. So there's no shame in, you're the number one detailer when your season's open, and then you close your doors and you do something else. It doesn't mean you're a failure as a business owner or anything like that. It's just you're in a seasonal business.
But most people, they won't go that direction, right?
Very true.
If you got it in here, you have a hard time doing that. So I only did it one season. I was thankful for the guy, and I told him, but I was like, next year when he called, I was like, no, man, I got to get
this. That's it. This is my last.
Yeah. Like, no, man, it'd be great, but no, I could spend this week trying to come up with a reason. Because by that time, right, I'd figured out it was going to be tougher going into the winter. So then I began to start using the time to do what you're talking about. How do I come up with an idea? Most of us will say, I can't, I don't have enough, and they'll fill in the blank, right? Usually it's time.
Yeah.
Well, if it's winter, what do you have?
Tons of time.
Doesn't mean you're still, sitting on the couch. No, it means you're working.
Yeah. Exactly.
Maybe this is where people go, oh, that's when I go work on my business, not in my business. No.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Yeah. Because you should be working on your business all the time.
All the time, right?
It's not like a seasonal thing.
Yeah. But this is the time that you can say, listen, I know that during this period, I'll always be slow. So I can use this time to come up with some new ideas, some new theories of going into the next year and things I can do for the next season. I don't clock out. I stay clocked in, and I use my mind instead of my hands.
Absolutely. And that's where fourth option also might be become a distributor. That's another thing as well. So while your business is on hiatus or taking less customers right now, there's other places in the country that are busy and jam-packed all year round. They need product. So maybe, talk to Marty, for example. You're selling hyperClean. You're using hyperClean. Now you can sell it to other shops so that you can take that time to make some money now and build up that base, and then continue that process. When you reopen, you're going to have that new revenue stream plus your detailing side of things. So that's what I would do, is I would start planting those kinds of seeds for the future. And then I would also take a look at alternatives I could do in my business. Absolutely. Like us, we're getting into snow removal right now in addition to our stuff, because we've taken on extra staff because we grew so fast, and we're preparing for the launch of our new place. It's like, well, what do we do with the excess staff that's just sitting around? Or we have two guys in particular, they wanted to make extra money. So they're like, listen, I don't have any kids. I just want to grind hard. So we're like, perfect. So you'll work during the day doing this, and then evening time, you start your shift doing snow stuff. Perfect. So there's tons of things you can do. And if you look at your business, if you're a detailer, there's a lot of little spin-offs and side things. Us, for example, we get slower for the detail side, except for our detailer division, our dealership division, but we're busier for other things. We're busier for our paint protection film, we're busier for our tinting, and we're busier for our coatings. So it's just kind of shifted. So I know there's some guys, they only do detailing and then, like quick coatings or something like that. But that's a time where maybe you should add on other services as well, like tinting, PPF, things like that. There's things that you can add into the mix that'll keep you busy all year round. And it might be a good idea also to look at other opportunities. Reach out to a shop that maybe they only do tinting. And they say, well, hey, listen, I want to come in here and I will prep all the cars for you. So you guys don't have to do the initial clean, or you guys don't have to work on dirty cars. Like us, every car that comes in, even if they come in just for a windshield replacement, we clean the entire exterior for two reasons. One, it keeps the rest of our environment clean. So we don't want a dirty car in the shop if we can avoid it. And two, every car that leaves clean. So if there's a customer that's pulling up and they see a car leaving, we want them to see a clean car that leaves every single time, even if the interior hasn't been touched. But so that's why we do that. We need to employ people for that. We have our own detailers, but if there's a shop that does tinting or something, they might not have that mindset. So you could take this literal pitch and just go to them and say, hey, listen, I was talking to this other shop and they have this theory that, you know, every car that leaves should leave clean. I can solve that problem for you. And now you've just become the solution for them, and they're going to have the volume of cars, and that'll keep you busy. And then maybe that becomes a really good working relationship too in the future.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Some interesting thoughts. You got to be hopeful.
Right. Well, you know, Manny was curious what the bouquet of tips are going to be this week. So
yeah.
Love that there's always a bouquet. We'll go ahead and lock them up. All right. So you've seen it. Not everybody's seen it, but there's a really great movie. It's called The Matrix.
Yeah, exactly. Man, when that came out,
that scene of dodging the bullets.
Yeah.
Really, it's hard for people that are young to understand how legendary, I mean, how insane it was to see.
Yeah, because you see that now and it's like, well, okay, you know, back then, man, I don't even know when the first one was released.
Somewhere in the 90s, that's all I remember.
Yeah.
Maybe mid to late 90s, I'm not sure.
Like 98, something like that. That's what I'm leaning towards, yeah. But that scene, like for that time period, that was some futuristic stuff. Right there.
It was crazy. And to think that you could bend time with your mind.
Yeah.
Interesting. You think you can?
I definitely think so. Maybe not in the Matrix capacity in a sense, but I think so. I think in our minds, I think we have a lot of control when it comes to time, because time doesn't technically really like exist per se, except for how it is in our brains. Like if you feel late, if you're on time, or how you use your time. I think those kinds of
time doesn't exist. I mean, we have night and day. I mean, that.
Yeah, we have night and day, but it doesn't really correspond to time per se. Like it kind of does and kind of doesn't. And I guess what I'm saying is that I think it's not something that's just concrete, because even that right there, there's some places in the world where it's like it's sunny for 6 months and then it'll be darkness for 6 months, you know, so it's not really like a concrete thing. I think it's fluid. And so because of that, I think you can manipulate it, but maybe not in a like I can read your thoughts kind of way, but more in a if you change the way you think about time and the way you use time, I think then you can create time.
There you go. There you go. So there's a book I've been listening to, and it's listen. It was a little at first. You know, it's called The Power of One More. It's by a guy named Adam Grant. A little bit, I'm not. You know, there's some of these books that are that style that are just a little too much hurrah.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So you got to get through some of that, but he's talking about the Matrix and in a sense what you're talking about. And he says that, you know, you can measure time with a clock, right? That's the mechanical measure of it.
Yeah.
But then he also talks about, you know, your mind's time, which is what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Now, how does a detailer understand mind's time? Let's put it into this perspective. Have you, and most of us all have, if we've detailed cars longer than a couple of weeks, we've had a car to clean, and let's just say, you know, we expected it to take us, you know, about 4 hours, and we're going away, and we're going to clean it. We look up, and holy crap, it feels like 40 minutes. Like time just flew by, but we're finished, and it took 4 hours, but wow, it seemed like it flew through. Or the flip side, where some people are going, oh, no, it seemed like it took 4 hours, but it really only took 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Either one. your perspective of what time, mechanical clock that ticks every second, right? Something happened. There was a shift that went on. What was it? Because both sides experienced the matrix S type of theory of experiencing time. Some they slowed down. Yeah. Some it felt like time completely slowed down. And if you read or you listen to enough people that are call it a Michael Jordan, a LeBron, or a super athlete, they get in these zones. And most of your high performance people get into a zone to where everything else kind of fades away and they feel like it's standing still. The time that I hit 2 home runs in my, luxurious, baseball, 2. And both times I'll forever remember because it literally looked like I could see the seams of the ball. It looked so sweet and so like it would just sit there. And I was just like, wait, what just happened? Right? Like time in a sense can slow down. We experience it, like I said, go back to the detail, whether it went too fast or seemed like it went really, really slow.
Yeah.
We've established now, everybody can agree that it happens.
Yep, 100%.
Now, what do you do in that time? Therein lies, did you take the red pill or did you take the blue pill? Right? Do you actually get to those moments and you've programmed, because as Neo, now this is going on my adaptation, right? A lot of this is kind of loosely took what he was talking about. I'm trying to adapt it into a detailer's thought. So Neo hardwired.
Yeah.
That when he would get to that spot, he could bend time.
Yeah.
We have to get to that spot so that we can bend time. You can't hardwire yourself, but you can learn. Right? But you can listen to podcasts where people talk about things. You can heavily listen to books, which I do. There's things that you can do so that when you get to those moments, it almost seems like time is standing still. And while your arms are moving and the mechanics of your body are going, your mind is actually focusing on something else, which creates this, right?
Yeah.
And dodging away of the bullets. You're actually accomplishing so much more because your arms and your body are doing while your mind is going through something else.
Yeah.
Right? And you can't get to those. You've been there. I've been there. We've all just said we've gotten there. But can you pre-focus so that once you're there, you climb, you progress, you create new ideas. You don't battle, right, over negativity or questioning if you can, or what about so-and-so said, and your mind is just racing into all this other stuff. So you pre-program it 2 ways. And it depends on which way you think. If you're a logical person, right, logical person needs word visions. They need to write things out and they need to have it out there visually so that when they go into these moments where time almost stands still, that's what comes back to them and they can think through those. Or if you're more of a creative person, you need to dream. You need to have these moments where you have these lucid type of dreams so that you program your mind to get into those spots and you can do it. Now, this is, I think, cool to me also because my dad used to teach me this from a religious aspect. And it was a theory that Paul wrote about. And it was like, you can pre-program your mind so that when you go into a battle of right and wrong, you've predetermined that you're always going to do the right thing. Right. And for me as a kid, he would talk about if you're going to a party, you pre-program your mind that you're only going to do certain things and not going to do certain things so that once you get into those moments, right, then you already know that you're not going to do some things. Okay, you pre-program. Same thing here. You can pre-program your mind to get ready for these random times that we don't know when it happens, but we suddenly start cleaning a car and it feels like 40 minutes has gone past, but it's actually been 4 hours. Okay. And inside of that 40 minutes, wow, you can come up with a lot of things. You can actually plan out your 2024 with all kinds of really interesting moments to allow you to even create more moments.
Yeah.
And there lies, right? Herein lies the ultimate matrix.
Man, that's amazing. You know, I'm thinking about it now so for me, as you were telling this story, I was thinking about football teams and boxing. So both of them study. So prior to a game or prior to a match, they'll study the opponent. So, and they study them and they plan out the fight, for example, even though like it hasn't happened and there's so many variables that could happen, but they try and pre-plan for the ones that could happen so that they'll know when they're in that moment, if it happens, they already know what to do, even though they've never been there before. They're creating their own deja vu in a way, you know? And I'm thinking now, so I have a to-do list, an active one, and I have different time frames on it. So I have an app that I've made that basically has different times. So I have one that's a year long, one that's 6 months, 3 months. Then I have one that's a week, and then it breaks that down into daily, and then it breaks my days down into 30-minute blocks. So I have 16 of them on average, and then it'll break that down even further into 15-minute ones. And I can shift things around. The night before is the most important thing for me. And so my wife always knows. I sit down and the kids will come and be like, "Oh, daddy." And she'll be like, "No, no, don't ask daddy a question right now. It's game day." And so when she says that, the kids will know what it is. And what it is I'm prepping for game day for the next day. I'm just reviewing what I'm going to do tomorrow. And then these are the things that are absolutely going to get done. And then I pre-think about if something happens, like, okay, so in case I have to go do this, or in case this happens, this will get thrown off. So I put that into a different column and it becomes this one might get pushed off. So I've got that in my brain to make room for the priority stuff to get done. Just by looking at that, I'm thinking like, okay, so as a detailer, if you're looking at your day, you go through your day, you finish your day. At the end of the day, they probably go home, crack a beer, and they're done, right? But using your tip today, you could take a look at the next day and you could say, okay, what's my day tomorrow going to look like? What's traffic probably going to be like? What's the weather going to be like? What tools am I going to need? Do I have everything I need for the day? Do I have it already in the car, or do I have it at the shop, or whatever? Are there any things I'm going to need? How's the job going to go? Which job should I do first? Like, I feel like people just kind of throw stuff on the calendar a lot of times and just fucking hope for the best. You know what I mean? Whereas if you actually look at it and treat it like a football game, or you treat it like a fight that's coming up, study the next day, study your opponent, and that's how you get hardwired in. I think is that now when you're in that moment, you are able to do all those different things, and you're able to bend time because you've pre-planned for it. You know, and that's where there's a lot of ways you can save time and create time. OrbisX is a
there
great
you go.
example.
That's what I was going to say. What are some tools inside of OrbisX that will help us plan to be ready for some moments?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best one is the fact that, and the thing I've always loved about OrbisX is the bird's eye view calendar, where you can just at a glance, the only thing you see are just the numbers. You can see like boom, 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 how many jobs are on each day. So you can start to plan things around as a week. You can plan them around this and that. Because for me, I would be looking more than the microscopic. I think a lot of people are focused on what do I have to do tomorrow, but I would actually be looking also like, what jobs do I have for the next 3 days? And I would make sure that I have enough coatings on hand. I would make sure I have enough this, that. That way, all of those days are going to go swimming. And I'm not going to have every day I'm putting out a fire, because the more time you spend putting out fires is the more time you spend doing stuff. So that's one thing I really love. But there's a lot of other ways that you can bend time with OrbisX as well. Just things by saving yourself time with the automated reminders and so on and so forth, pretty standard stuff. But little things that, I've had customers post in the group, members, and they've said, thank God for OrbisX. You just saved me countless hours, because they had a dispute. Someone had filed, oh, I didn't buy this, or oh, I didn't approve this, or something like that. And they said, I took the time when the vehicle came in, I took my inspection photos, had them uploaded to OrbisX. I went around the vehicle. I had the customer sign an automatic waiver that gets sent out to them. So they didn't have to do any of this stuff. It just automatically happened. Customer gets the document, they sign it. And then later, when they had an issue that would have, consumed probably 4 or 5 hours of that day, didn't happen. And so they were able to kind of bend time in that way. But there's so many different things with technology you can use, even your marketing. Like we've just launched our new AI text helper. So when you're creating your marketing campaigns that are also going to save you time, now you can save time just creating them, because you can ask the AI, what's a good follow-up message for, a new lead that came in and they're interested in ceramic coating, and I sell a 1-year coating, and you can do these kinds of things. And then the AI will spit back a response, and you can literally copy the response, paste it in, tweak it a little bit, and then save. So that's going to save you time on creating something that's going to save you time with the follow-ups. You know what I mean? So it's like you're just multiplying the savings every step of the way. And so there's a lot of tools in OrbisX that can definitely do that for you. And aside from that too, there's a lot of tools just in your life in general that you can start to use to organize your life and plan for game day, basically. So yeah, get hardwired in. I like that a lot. And me, I'm big on saving time. It's the reason why I took the speed reading course. I always read pretty well. And that was a big thing I did too, is I took some time to figure out what kind of learner I was. A lot of people don't do that. They just assume like, oh, I pick things up this way, or they just chalk it up to, I have trouble learning. And it's like, no, you have trouble learning a certain way. Everybody can learn things a certain way. So I realized that I learn really well by reading something and then trying it. So for me, reading was fundamental for me. So what I did is I said, okay, I can read X amount of books in a week. I practiced reading and just read and read and read to see if I would get faster. I was showing improvements, but not to the level I wanted. So I invested.
How fast can you read?
So now it's insane. I can read a 400-page book in 30 minutes and remember things. It's insane. But that's because I took a course. It was incredibly expensive. It was recommended.
I read 111 words a minute.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll read a chapter. It'll be gone. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. But everybody's different.
In slow motion.
Also, in slow motion. You're Neo in the thing.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So, but for me, so I read on average 20 to 30 books a week now, which is insane. And I know it's insane, but I read a lot, and not all of them are huge though. Some of them are 200-page books, things like that. But I read quite often. I read a lot, and I took that speed reading course. It was recommended. A buddy of mine, he came to visit me. I was on an island. He came to visit. He was looking for a good place to go scuba diving. I hooked him up with some locals that were there, and they took him around. He had the best day ever. He works for this insurance company, and he's one of their like advisors. He's the guy that does the policies to make sure that people don't get paid out for insurance. He makes a lot of money because he saves them a lot of money. Anyway, not the greatest job. Someone's got to do it. But anyway, so he's really high up there though, and he works for, I can't mention the name, but he works for a really big insurance company everybody uses. So anyway, he told me, he said, listen, I want to say thank you because you took me and my whole team out. We had a great time scuba diving. It was an amazing experience. I want to say thank you in some way. What can I do for you? And I said, the best thing you can do for me, honestly, share a tip with me. Something, something you've learned along your journey, something of this, that. And he said, what do you like to do? I said, I like to read. He said, okay, I got something for you. And he said, everybody that's at this top tier level takes this course. And he sent it to me. And so I took the course, and it reprograms your brain. And so when you are taught how to read, initially you're taught what letters are, A, B, C, D, so on and so forth. Then you're taught what words are and paragraphs and so on and so forth. And so you learn to read by letters in words. And so you start, you see a stop sign and you say, okay, S-T-O-P, stop. But this course reprograms your brain to learn how to read entire words and sentences at a time. Then you start reading paragraphs at a time. So you're literally looking at, because when you see the word stop, you don't go S-T-O-P. You don't do that now, right?
I did kind of, in order to write papers, I did what I would skim through sections, usually first parts of the book, grab a couple parts in the middle, read some paragraphs, kind of get an understanding of basic topics, and then come up with some type of thesis to write a paper about, and grab little sections and give quotes, and away I went. Like that's the way I learned how to write books and I'm sorry, read books and write papers.
Yeah. But
I also battled dyslexia too, apparently.
Yeah. Jeez. Dyslexic too?
No, I was joking since I was
Oh, okay.
saying.
I thought you were serious. I was like, oh shoot. I was like, damn.
Since I was saying the words
bad.
wrong, it's like apparently I battled that also.
Apparently, but yeah, the speed
So
reading
what
course
tip?
helped me bend time.
Yeah,
So,
what's the big tip for Shawnee
so
boy?
yeah, I got a big
A
tip.
big tip is a small tip. I don't know which is it.
It's a medium size.
Oh, medium sized
It's
tip.
above average. It's above
Above
average.
average, huh?
Yeah. But I don't know. We use the metric system, so it might be different here. So
Sort of like if you're running away from a lion, right? You just can't be the last one.
it can't
Can't
be
be
last. Exactly. I don't have to be
the
fast. I just have to be faster than the person beside me, right? That's exactly. Yeah. So
gotta be bigger than the last one. That's all that matters.
yeah, exactly. Bye. So yeah. So my tip this season is about being hopeful, because a lot of people I think go through a lot of different emotions during the holidays. Some of them good, some of them more leaning towards despair and uncertainty and things like that.
Because there's so much pressure, right? Holidays just get so
Yeah,
much pressure around them.
there's a lot of pressure. There's financial pressure, there's family
Absolutely.
pressure, there's relationship, there's all kinds of stuff. And then for a lot of people, the new year is a big thing, right? It's like a time of reflection. Like, did I really get everything I wanted to do done? Am I where I need to be? And that's where a lot of the comparative things come with those around you and so on and so forth and where you want to be. And my word of the day is going to be have hope. Hope is crucial to everything. And to understand the power of hope and understanding that hope can literally create or dismantle the foundation of your business. Um, to see how powerful it is, we can reference an experiment that was called the Hope Experiment. And if you're an animal lover, now might be a good time to tune out. But it was an experiment done on mice that was at the time not considered a bad thing, but now a lot of people consider it to be not so great for animals. However, we did learn a lot from the experiment, and it was done in the 50s. And what they did essentially was they took some mice and they put them in a cup of water and they let them start to drown. And the mice would struggle and the mice would try and swim to the top and they would keep swimming. And they on average could swim for 15 minutes before they would basically give up and they lost hope. And they would just kind of float there at the top. Some of them didn't make it, of course, but some of them got fearful, started swimming to the bottom to see if maybe there was an exit or something like that. But by and large, they all did the same thing. They all
Well, you
gave up.
see it too. You and I talked about it. It's interesting watching, safari-esque type of videos.
Yeah.
Predator, like certain prey, you see them just finally give up and they just
Yeah.
kind
Like, well, this is it. They're not dead yet, but they know. They're just
of, they
like,
never
well,
did. Yeah.
they lost hope.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so the interesting thing about the experiment was that 15 minutes was the average that the mice would try and swim before they gave up hope. And they eventually would just die. And if they gave up hope, they would drown, they were dead. So they tried a second round of the experiment and they put mice in and they let them struggle for 15 minutes and they did the same thing. They did the same routine. They struggled, they got fearful, they couldn't get out, swam to the bottom, couldn't find an exit. As the 15-minute mark hit, they would pull them out, dry them off, and let them catch their breath. And then they would instantly throw them back in. They swam for 15 minutes the first time. What would your guess be that they swam the second time?
It's a great question. I would love to know. I know the answer. You would think that if they got pulled out in 15 minutes, maybe they're either so tired and it's 5 or 30 because they knew that, they could make it. I'm going to go with, the bigger number. I'm going to go with the 30.
All right. 60 hours. 60 hours. Insane. And it was all the power of hope. They believed that if they kept going, that they would be rescued. So they had hope. 60 hours. I couldn't believe it too. When I saw the numbers, you gotta be kidding me. I had to go back and reread it. I was like, what? 60 hours. And it was purely hope. They were exhausted. They were dehydrated, even though they were in water. They didn't have food. They would keep going to the point that they kept defecating. and they just kept pooping over and over. And they just kept going. And it was literally, they said it was the fear just leaving their body. But they went 60 hours just on hope alone. So if that doesn't show you the power of hope and how giving up hope can just, is the end all be all in a sense. But if you have hope and you believe things will turn around and you stay with a positive attitude, that's how we've talked a lot about programming your mind during this episode. That's how you can program your mind to do incredible things that go beyond what even your body should be capable of doing. And so if you have hope during slower times, during times where you have financial pressures and stuff, if you believe that things will be okay, they usually will be, but not just because all things work out for those that wish for them or whatever. It's none of that. It's that you hoped and believed so strongly that you started doing things differently. You started acting differently. You started, interacting with other people differently, that energy fostered an environment where your success was inevitable. And so my advice for you this holiday season is have hope. Absolutely. So if you're wondering what to do when it's slow, first thing you got to do is have hope that things will be better, and stop thinking that things are slow. Stop even telling yourself things are slow. They're not slow. You're hopeful that you're going to find a solution to get more customers. You're going to this, that. And it's not that you don't have enough customers. It's not that you don't have enough money, because if someone asks me how much money do you want to make? How much money is enough? The answer is always the same for me: more. Always the same. You could hand me $1 billion check. I'll wake up tomorrow and show up to work. The answer is more of everything, because I'm hopeful that there's more out there. I'm hopeful of so many things. And because my hope can't be squashed, I will always be successful, because I will keep going, because I know that even during tough times, someone's going to eventually, or something, usually myself, pull myself out of that water, and I'm going to be okay. So have hope.
Also, I think the interesting thing I love hope also. And I'm gonna save what I was about to say. Because I was thinking of hope also when we do as we're gonna record one, later for
Christmas episode, yeah.
Christmas episode. So that I can't, because I was already prepping it, and once I was like,
all right, we'll keep that one queued up in the chamber. That's it. Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
Plus, I mean, the Christmas story in general, right? A big giant star.
Yeah, that's true.
Star was a sign. So
yeah.
That's what I want to dive into, and then how to journey using hope to get that prize, that thing that you wanted.
Yeah.
How do you get it? How do you use hope? So cool.
Yeah, there we go. It'll be the part 2 hope episode. So
there you go.
We'll have to tune in for the Christmas episode as well next week. Or it's the week after that. Yeah, Christmas is 2 weeks away. Yeah. I'm just hopeful for my gifts. That's all. I'm excited. But yeah, especially when my wife says, I got you some good ones this year. It's like, ooh, I'm really, I don't know how she's gonna fit in the box, but see, boom, husband check.
Play a meat grinder.
Yeah, meat grinder, exactly, with a box of picanha. I hope to God it shows up soon. My goodness. Yeah, but I got the other part of my order, which is good, but just waiting on that sweet, delicious goodness. The minute that comes in, though, yeah, I'm gonna have to get the meat grinder first, though, and then because I want to do half of it, I'm gonna try cooking as steaks, and then the other half, I'm gonna put through the grinder, make some burgers.
Half of it?
Yeah.
Maybe just cut the edges that are the not,
put those through.
That's what I do. I'll cut the stuff that's not the best for a steak and leave that prime cut, and do the other excess as the.
All right. That's what I'm going to do then. Absolutely. And after this, I'm going to check some tickets to Brazil. And once again, I am hopeful that there's good pricing. We shall see. But no, you're like, no, it's disgusting. Because everybody knows. That's the thing. See, what I have to do is book a flight to like the jungle or something. No one's going.
There you go.
And then travel through. See, life hack, thinking ahead. All right. Well, listen, Marty, awesome, good stuff, good tips today. Everybody, tune in next week as well, and be sure to check out the Pints of Polishing podcast, and stay tuned for when we have the hyperClean products in store integrated into OrbisX as well. It's going to be a big one. Yeah, baby. Awesome, man. Appreciate you as always. I'll see you next week. Thanks, man. Cheers.